Listen, I love video games, but how do you expect me to spend time playing them when I'm too busy looking at this? So I have quite an expansive Nintendo Switch physical game collection. Yeah, sure, we'll call that my personality. I have a fascination with the Nintendo Switch boxes. I think that they're very sleek looking, they're very clean. They're not shaped like any other current gen console box, which I think is really interesting, and I just find them really fun to collect. But the thing about Nintendo Switch games, and I mean, a lot of just modern games in general, they don't come with a lot of the fixins that a lot of the old console games used to come with. Like the manuals and little inserts inside the game that kind of come alongside the game, and I'll kind of show off here. And you can, there's a little spot for little inserts, but nothing. But as a little consolation prize, something that Nintendo started doing with this generation of games is they started printing inner box art. This was something that I don't think they ever really did with their previous consoles. Maybe for like special editions or like very limited edition prints of certain games or whatnot. I think they did it for Metroid Prime Trilogy. I could be wrong about that, but I think they did. But nevertheless, this is something that they started doing with this generation, at least with their first party releases, and I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Obviously the normal like front cover of most Switch games is beautifully designed. It's a great thing to just kind of like pull off your shelf or whatever and look at. But I think that it's really interesting to just kind of see like what kind of bullshit they put on the inside cover here to kind of like complement the game. I think that that's just as interesting, if not more interesting, to kind of look at. And I thought I'd go through my my physical Nintendo Switch game collection today and just kind of talk about some of the more interesting or noteworthy examples of this like inner box art that I found in my collection. We're gonna start things off a little broadly here. Right here I have a collection of games that have inner box arts that don't really follow any specific theme, and I say that because there are quite a number of themes and sort of like patterns with how a lot of companies, Nintendo included, decided to print their inner box art, and we're going to explore that. But these just kind of, show a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about with no, discernible like pattern, I guess. So let's see. We'll start things off with New Pokemon Snap. So New Pokemon Snap, you got a nice little cover here and little pictures of Pokemon and everything. And on the inside, you have this. So I don't think this is too terribly crazy of a design or anything, but it is kind of nice. You got little silhouettes of all these Pokemon here, and they're just having a good time. A lot of all these Pokemon that you can find pretty early on in the game. It's just it's minimalist. I like it. Here we have Animal Crossing New Horizons, and inside we got, I thought this was kind of interesting. It's like a little advertisement for the Nook Inc. Dodo Airlines, fictional sort of like airline service that is in the game. I thought it was kind of nice. It's it gives very prominent like island resort sort of like tropical advertisement type vibes. I don't even know if that's like a vibe, but that's what this is giving me nonetheless. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, has a very nice looking sort of like Studio Ghibli-esque art style to the cover, and the inside is no exception. We got this beautiful piece of artwork here. Bravely Default 2. Why do I own this? Because the inside art looks cool, damn it. That's a good enough reason, right? Super Mario Odyssey. So I thought this one was sort of interesting. You got all the lyrics to Jump Up Superstar from the game. That's something, I think it could have probably been a little bit more creative, but one thing that I had an idea for this inside cover is they could have made it sort of like a little brochure advertisement of like one of the kingdoms, kind of like they had in the actual game, and I thought that would have made for a pretty cool inside box art, but they went with this instead. Disney Illusion Island. That counts. We got Balan Wonderworld here. This game is a piece of shit. But the inside art looks cool if we remove all the fucking inserts. I can commend them for making this look kinda neat. If you're confused why I'm praising this, you're gonna see why in a little bit. But yeah, those are just some examples of what I'm talking about, you know, just kind of some interesting examples to point out. But now, we're gonna get into the real shit. Emphasis on shit! We got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu here. So this leads me into one of the first themes that I found when I was going through all these, you know, inner box arts and noticing some patterns in the designs. So when we open up Let's Go Pikachu here, you can see we got a map of the Kanto region, which is the region in the game. So this is something that basically all of the main series Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch do with their inner box art. They just kind of show off the map of the region from the game. We got Pokemon Shield here, same idea. This one's maybe a little bit more interesting because you kind of have to turn it like this if you want to see it how God intended. We got Pokemon Shining Pearl, same idea. And we got Pokemon Scarlet, and wouldn't you know it, how did they come up with this design? Yeah, so not too terribly exciting, but you know, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I don't think they at least look nice, you know? I find the really broad sort of like map design images, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, I do find them pleasant to look at, so I'll give you that, Pokemon. You got me there. But those are not all of the examples I have of this idea, because wouldn't you know it, Nintendo themselves decided to partake in the map inner box design with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. There it is. That's the map of the world from the game. And there's my worst fucking nightmare. But obviously when it comes to the idea of including the map from the game in question as the game's inner box art, that was not something unique to Pokemon games. Obviously Nintendo did it right here. And this was not the only time that they did it. Aha! Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Holy shit, it's like I've seen this before. Yeah, this is actually pretty damn similar to the inner box art for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I didn't even notice that at first until I was kind of going through these and I was like, oh damn, Mario's in this one too. And Super Mario RPG also has, you know, the map from the game as the inner box art. This one I kind of like a little bit more just because, I don't know, I have a lot of stupid nostalgia for Super Mario RPG, so like, you know, I find this box art stupidly charming, and you know, the inner box art, sure, we'll say I find that charming too. Why the hell not? Moving on to our next theme here, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So before I open this up, you know, sort of like to preface this, obviously, you know, the inner box art, as I think I said before, it kind of stood to replace the manuals and sort of like other inserts that usually used to come with physical games. So, you know, obviously when, you know, that became a little bit, when physical games kind of became a little bit less like necessary, and, you know, companies started putting less sort of like time and, you know, money into the packaging of these games, they stopped including, for the most part, a lot of the inserts that they used to, and, you know, manuals and such. But as it turns out, we can't escape them completely. Yeah, so this is another trend in the Nintendo Switch inner box art. They started printing little instructions or like game tutorials, or, you know, stuff that you would find in your average video game manual from yesteryear. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we got this nice little graphic of, you know, kind of how you play the fucking game, in case you've never played a goddamn Mario Kart game before. Hey, I'm not trying to shame you if you didn't already know how to play Mario Kart before looking at this, but I mean, like, was this really necessary to include as the inner box design? I feel like they could have easily, like, printed, you know, this whole thing on one side and then maybe had, like, something a little bit more interesting on the other side. I don't know. Or better yet, you know, like, I'm pretty sure most games for the Nintendo Switch come with some sort of electronic manual. I could be completely wrong about that. I don't know, because I've never really tried looking for them before, because obviously I'm a fucking expert at games. That was my sarcastic voice. I don't know. I feel like most people that got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe didn't need this graphic to learn how to play the game. but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I certainly didn't need to use this. Same idea with Kirby Star Allies. You know, you gotta... Yeah, that's how you Kirby. Team Sonic Racing. So this is actually an exception to what I was saying earlier, because this actually does have some inserts in the actual game case, which is something that I also showed in Balan Wonderworld's physical game box, but you know, I kind of just glossed over that, but I figured I'd kind of just point that out. Like, some Nintendo Switch games out there do include inserts reminiscent of, you know, previous generations of console games, but they are few and far between. We're gonna move on from that point. That being said, there you go, watch the goddamn Sonic movie. But yeah, following the same trend as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Kirby Star Allies, we have, you know, sort of like instructions about the game. These are more so sort of descriptions of different powers in the game that you can acquire. And I think on this side, same thing. Puyo Puyo Tetris has the same idea. This one is at least a little bit more nice looking because you got, you know, little Puyos right here, little Tetris blocks right here. This is kind of a nicely designed inner box art, considering, you know, its main purpose is to teach you how to be a fucking dork. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Oh wow, look at that. It's the same thing that I've been talking about. And finally, Yoshi's Crafted World. Same idea. Obviously, not the most interesting trend for inner Nintendo Switch box art, but hey, they can't all be winners. I will emphasize again, they can't all be winners. Yeah, so now we're moving on to the next theme of Nintendo Switch inside box art. No fucking box art. Yeah, so, you know, there actually are quite a number of games on the Nintendo Switch that don't have any sort of inner box art. Mostly these are third-party games. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but pretty much every game that we've talked about thus far is a first-party Nintendo release, and pretty much all first-party Nintendo releases have some sort of inner box art design, but all of the other ones, I mean, someone did have to design this. Yeah, so right here we got Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This is, you know, despite having Mario on the cover and, you know, in the title of the game, this is not a first-party Nintendo release, no, because this was published by Ubisoft, you know? So, you know, I didn't really show this off before, but, you know, on first-party Nintendo releases, usually there's a little symbol down here on the spine that reads the publisher of the game in question. And right here, as you can see, Ubisoft was the publisher of this game, which means that they were in charge of the manufacturing and distribution of these boxes right here, which is probably why they decided, hey, let's save a little money and not print anything on the inside of the box art. Okay, whatever. It's not like it's that big of a deal. I mean, all the stuff that we're talking about is pretty damn superfluous in the grand scheme of things. It's just kind of like, you know, your mind starts thinking of the possibilities, and you're like, man, they could have made some cool ass looking box art for this game if they wanted to, but they didn't. You. Same idea with the sequel to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Oh, we got this little doodad here. Two doodads, actually. So it's not like there's nothing in here, but I mean, like, you might as well just put nothing. I actually think this pisses me off more. If they had just put nothing here, you know, I wouldn't really have anything to complain about. But they put this here. What is this supposed to, like, tease me? But yeah, same idea. This is another Ubisoft published game, Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. We got nothing in here. Same idea with Mega Man 11. Oh wow, have you seen the point I'm trying to make yet? Pac-Man World Repack. Oh man, there's gotta be some sort of retro Pac-Man design on the inside box art, or maybe even like some sort of box art that's reminiscent of the old Pac-Man World on PS1, right? Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection. So I wanted to point this one out specifically because, you know, just like the other games we've been talking about, well, first of all, you know, published by Atari, as you can see down here. And, you know, just like the other ones, you know, there's not technically any design in here, but as you can see, there kinda is. Like, this is a very, like, basic design. Like, by all, you know, by all means, this isn't really an inner box design in the same sort of way that, you know, a lot of the other games that I've been showing off have inner box designs. But, you know, they did kind of put some effort into this. You know, you got a little Atari 50 logo design here, and the whole thing goes for, like, this nice yellow aesthetic, which, as I say that, I'm not the biggest fan of the color yellow, but, like, you know, if you like that sort of thing, there you go. It's a little bit more effort than just printing a white inner box art. I'll give them that. But, like, you know, it's a little interesting that they didn't, you know, they didn't decide to go a little bit further with that and just, you know, try to make something a little bit more interesting to look at. But, you know, hey, whatever, it's Atari, who gives a shit anyway. I wanted to bring this one up because we're gonna see in a little while that there are some Sonic, you know, physical releases on Switch that have some pretty nice looking inner box art, but, you know, you got a game like Sonic Frontiers here, you know, big 3D Sonic game, you know, one of the greats of the generation. Maybe I wouldn't say that, but it was a pretty big deal when it came out. It was Sonic's next big game, but, you know, we just got nothing in here. Well, we got that, but, like, you know what I mean. Moving on to our next sort of theme here. The next couple themes that I found only really apply to a couple games, but I thought that they were kind of worth pointing out. So here we got Paper Mario, the Origami King, and if we look inside, we got this nice little collage of characters from the game. And oddly enough, with the physical release of Sushi Striker, The Way of Sushido, we got a similar looking inner box art. You know, it's definitely laid out in a similar way as Origami King's inner box art, just with plates of very sushi. And finally, you know, I mainly just wanted to show off this because, you know, I love this game. Bugsnax is a really fun game. This was actually a fan gamer release, which I have one other one that we'll show off here. But this was, you know, this was a nice little fan gamer published game that did also include a manual. And would you look at that? They kind of went for a similar aesthetic as the Origami King and Sushi Striker inner box arts, just with all the little Bugsnax from the game plastered around. I really like this release of Bugsnax. I think it's really cool that they included, you know, a little manual here. You know, and they also, I think they also included some, like, little coloring book. You know, it's not really something that I have much use for, but, you know, it's kind of nice. And they have some stickers too. I just really like it when companies like Fangamer or Limited Run Games, which we'll see in a little bit here, go the extra mile and include, you know, little superfluous things like that for their physical releases. I just think that that's really nice. To everyone that wants to give me shit because I said Bugsnax was a fun game, yeah, go ahead. Moving on to the next theme. This one's actually a little bit of a stretch, but we're gonna go with it anyway. We got WarioWare Move It here, and if we look on the inside, wow, that's all I really have to say about this, because, you know, we got a nice little collage of pictures here, but, like, at the end of the day, like, am I supposed to be impressed by this? Same idea with Everybody 1-2 Switch. Dog shit game. This doesn't redeem it, but I'll give it this. It looks kind of nice. Does not bring my opinion on the actual game up at all. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Similar story. And finally, we got Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Just kind of a little compilation of screenshots from the different games included. You know, I'm not gonna say that I could have came up with a better design for the inside of this box art, but, like, I mean, come on. I don't know what else this deserves other than, like, a participation ribbon. Okay, moving on to the next to last category of inner box art that I wanted to talk about here. So you may remember, so we have Sonic Origins Plus here. You may remember when I mentioned that I was a little surprised of the lack of inner box art for Sonic Frontiers. Well, the reason for that is because, look at this! We actually got art in here! Not only that, we have one of my favorite examples of inner box art design, the reversible cover art. I think this is absolutely incredible whenever companies decide to do this. They basically print an entirely different outer box art design for the game in question, and a lot of times, you know, it allows companies to, you know, sort of just do, like, alternate art or, like, throwbacks to sort of what other franchise they're representing here. Obviously here we have Sonic, a very classic franchise, and they went for a very nice classic, just Genesis looking design for this Sonic game here. I didn't even notice this until just now, but they even included this little Genesis Does sort of like logo right here. That's cute. Yeah, f you, Nintendo, but also thank you for letting us print our games on your very successful console. Yeah, so I am like a box art purist in the sense that, you know, I like my games to have, you know, like the original box art that they were always intended to have when they were printed. But you know, I'm not gonna lie and say that this doesn't look really cool, and I think that it's just really nice when companies decide to do this with their physical releases. You know, for the hell of it, sure, let's put it in with the reversible art and just kind of see what it looks like. Definitely really cool. I very much quite like this. Okay, that was fun for a second, but we're going back to how God intended this to look. Hello, old friend. But yeah, the reversible cover is another trend in the inner box art world for Nintendo Switch. Right here we have Metroid Prime Remastered, and the inner box art is just sort of another version of the cover art. I think this is reminiscent of the original GameCube release, or I think it's actually the Japanese GameCube release's art. If I'm not mistaken, I'll fact check myself about that right now. If I'm wrong, you will all see how much of an idiot I am. But if I'm right, hey! Bayonetta 2. So this was actually the release that included Bayonetta 1 on the cartridge. And wouldn't you know it, we got the Bayonetta 1 box art as the reversible art. We got Sonic Superstars here. So this is very much following the same sort of idea as the Sonic Origins Plus design. We got a very retro style looking box art for Sonic Superstars here. Sonic Superstars obviously harkens back to the old retro style of Sonic, you know, the golden era, if you will. So, you know, it's only fitting that this inner box, you know, reversible art is very reminiscent of classic Sonic. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So this is an interesting little oddity here, because the inner box art displays this son of a bitch. Yeah, so this version obviously included new funky mode. You can play as Funky Kong. Yippee. It's just pretty much an easy mode that they added to the game. But you know, it was a big deal, obviously. They had to include it on the box here, so why not? Why not make that the whole game's identity? Sure. At that rate, why not just go all the way and write Funky Kong Country Tropical Freeze? That would have been very cute. Missed opportunity, Nintendo. Here we got another fan gamer release here, physical release for Stardew Valley. So I actually didn't know this had a reversible cover until I was, you know, like I said, I was kind of going through these, and I looked in and yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not played a lot of Stardew Valley, so I have no idea who this fucker is, but he looks nice. I can see why you would want this to be the cover art. And finally, we have the limited run games release of Persona 4 Golden here with the reversible cover art. If I was more of a Persona fan, I would totally have something to say about what this art is supposed to look like. Maybe the original release of the game. Yeah, we'll go with that. Before we move on to the final category, I just had a couple of honorable mentions here. So here I got the two Mario Party games on Switch. So we got Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars. I just thought it was kind of interesting because both of these kind of follow the same sort of template for their inner box art. With Super Mario Party here, we got this nice little picture with all the different playable characters from the game. And with Mario Party Superstars, well, I'll be damned. They got Birdo in on this shit. Can't say that about Super Mario Party. I'd say Mario Party Superstars has a little bit more of an interesting inner box art because at least you got, like, you know, a little, little screenshots from all the different mini games, or, you know, at least a good handful of them, obviously. Kind of similar to how the actual front cover is designed, but, you know, no one ever said it was a sin to be derivative. So I already talked about Puyo Puyo Tetris's inner box art design. In case you need a little reminder, just, you know, shows you how to play the game. You got little Puyos and the Tetris blocks here. But I wanted to bring this up again because we have its sequel here, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. And, you know, you're probably thinking like, oh, wow, you know, it probably has, you know, a similar inner box design. Or maybe it even has just like, you know, screenshots of random Puyo Puyo and Tetris games, right? Yeah. You'd bet wrong. It's just kind of weird that, like, you know, this release of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, you know, didn't have anything, whereas, you know, this release, it had something. It wasn't a lot, but, you know, I'll take this over nothing. Same idea with Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2 here. Obviously, the original Ni no Kuni had this nice artwork on the inside here, but with Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom Princess Edition, yeah, it's kind of weird. This is kind of a weird thing. Like, I don't know why with the sequel of both the Puyo Puyo Tetris game and this game they didn't do anything. But hey, you know, money's tight, I guess. They couldn't invest in the extra printer ink. I'm not gonna say I blame them. And the last theme of games that I have to talk about is not a theme at all. Haha, gotcha. Yeah, these last few games that I want to talk about are just more or less my favorite inner Nintendo Switch box designs. Ones with that, you know, when I looked at them, I was like, wow, that looks really, really nice. And I really, really like that. Specifically these, I really, really like. And obviously, I showed this off in the beginning. This is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the remake. You know, you have this very nice looking, you know, sort of just artwork of the game in question. I believe this was actually the artwork that they showed off in the initial trailer when they revealed this game in, I believe it was the February 2019 Nintendo Direct. Yeah, I can remember that, but I can't remember my mom's birthday. But yeah, it's just really nice art. I quite like it. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the ones that I very much quite like for this last category. Next up, we got Ori the Collection. So this is a very nice physical release of both Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Both games are on one cartridge, which is really nice. And inside, we even have, you know, it was a little inserts. You know, the developers decided to throw in like this little artwork. And I believe this is actually a manual. I haven't actually opened this to like really dive into it, but this might even actually have some pages to it. I'm not even quite sure. But then, you know, we also got like a little download code for a digital version of the game's soundtrack, which is really nice. Not really talking about box art, but I mean, hey, you know, I can do whatever I want. But yeah, this one really struck me when I looked at it. I thought this looked really quite nice. I really like it when these inner box art designs just, you know, completely go all out and just have, you know, a full work of art, just like a beautiful looking just image or scenery. And, you know, this is obviously no exception. I bumped the camera. That's how excited I am about this. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So admittedly, this one isn't super cool, but I mean, like, this is one of my favorite Nintendo Switch games, and, you know, like, I just think the inner box art is just completely fitting for it. You get all the base characters depicted here in, I believe, the order that they were introduced into the series, barring the Echo Fighters. It's just really nice. I just very much quite like this inner box art. I just think it's very, very appropriate for the Smash Bros. Series. Splatoon 2, a game that I haven't played too terribly much of, but I very much quite like the inner box art we got here. We got almost like a Splatoon 2 like movie poster type design on this side, and on this side we have, you know, similar story but for Samurai. I just think that that's very, very nice, just like artwork. And hey, I didn't even notice this until just now. This serves as reversible art. Well, how about that? And it even has the little squid here. That's incredible! I legitimately just noticed that as I was filming this. That is quite neat. Super Mario Maker 2. So this one struck me as particularly cool because the inside box art actually replicates sort of the outside box art here, or the front cover, you know, and it kind of has like a similar looking design, but, you know, obviously this is in like supposed to be, I believe, the Super Mario 3D World style, you know, with the cat Luigi and the Super Bell and all that. And the inside kind of shows, you know, like a retro Mario looking version of that front cover design, which I think is really cool. WarioWare Get It Together. Debatably a worse WarioWare game than WarioWare Move It, but in terms of inner box art designs, I mean, come on. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Let's take a look at the inside of this game. Very cool looking inner artwork here. I mean, this, you know, this is obviously like the most sort of like stock art of the whole Bowser's Fury side mode, but I feel like that's doing a disservice saying it's stock art. I just mean like it's the most common sort of like depiction of you know, that mode, like this image in particular, but you know, for a good reason, because this image is, you know, beautiful. Look at that fucker, he is pissed. We got Luigi's Mansion 3 here, another one of my favorite Nintendo Switch games. And we got Luigi in the Polterpup here, and we got you know, this is that's the mansion. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, another fantastic game for the Nintendo Switch. So here's the thing about this one. I really like the inner box art design that they put in here, but I also don't. And maybe you'll see why I have very conflicting views on it when I show it off here. What the f is that? Okay, don't get me wrong. This is a very beautiful just image and just art, piece of art from the game. I don't even know if this is from the game. This could have just been like specifically created, you know, for this inner box art, or maybe this was just like concept art for the game. I don't even know. But why could they have not like expanded the image or zoomed it in to like fill these like black bars on the top and bottom here? Like why? Like I could have done that in 5 seconds in Photoshop. A real expert probably could do it in 4 seconds. But yeah, I'm not gonna act like this doesn't look cool. And you know, the more that I look at it, maybe these were actually intentionally put here to make this look more cinematic, like you're watching a movie of this game or something. I don't know, I'm trying to make excuses. This game is still really good. We got all the Pikmin games here. So these are actually quite interesting to kind of look back on. We'll start off with Pikmin 3 Deluxe here. I think this one might have, just in general, like my favorite just inner box art design of any Nintendo Switch game. Are you ready to see it? Yeah, maybe you're not too impressed by this. I don't know if this is like fairly impressive to just any old Joe off the street, but as a Pikmin fan and just a lover of like, you know, full works of art like this, I think this is absolutely beautiful. I love this. I don't know if this like specific piece of art was ever used for the original Pikmin 3 release on Wii U in any capacity, because I don't think Wii U games had inner box art. But nevertheless, like, you know, wherever they got this art from, if they made it from scratch or pulled it from somewhere, like this is absolutely gorgeous. Next up, we got the physical release of Pikmin 1+2, another godsend of a game. The fact that we got both these games on Nintendo Switch around the time of Pikmin 4's release, you know, very, very cool. You might notice that the outer box art is pretty basic here. Obviously, you know, we kind of have like a divide between, you know, the original Pikmin is supposed to be depicted up here, and Pikmin 2 is supposed to be depicted down here. You know, obviously we have the 3 original Pikmin types, and then we have here we got, you know, the purple and the white for what they add, the ones that they added in Pikmin 2, obviously. And what's really cool about this physical release is that on the inside box art here, we got like these very like retro style depictions of both, you know, Pikmin groups from each game here. The models they're using here are supposed to be reminiscent of, you know, how they looked in those original GameCube renders from, I believe, the box art, but, you know, otherwise just more or less just like, you know, the concept art from the original games, which I think is really cool. I just think it's really cool whenever Nintendo actually acknowledges the GameCube. I'm filming this one day before Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door releases, which, you know, now I'm thinking about it, and, you know, I'm kind of regretting in some sense, because I probably could have showed off the box art for that game here. But, hell, maybe I'll throw it in, you know, last minute as like a post-edit thing. I don't know. The inside box art's fine. But anyway, yeah, back to Pikmin. Yeah, both of these box art or inner box art designs, very cool. Definitely really, really like the Pikmin 3 Deluxe one. But the Pikmin 1+2 inner box art design is also very cool in its own right. Now, in terms of how much I actually enjoy these Pikmin games here, Pikmin 4 is definitely my favorite. I love this game. But, you know, one downside is that, you know, the inner box art is kind of not that great in comparison to the other two. You know, I'm just not really impressed by this. You know, you got all the little Pikmin types from the game, you know, all included here on the bottom part here, just like running across with Ochi obviously right here. But you know, you got like all of this white space up here that I'm like, you couldn't have included like a nice little backdrop for this or something, like one of the areas from the game or something. Like, come on, man, it could have looked so much cooler than this. But still, a great game. I'm not the biggest fan of the inner box art, but whatever. And of course, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I'm going to be honest and say that I have not played a lot of either of these games, but I still very much appreciate, you know, what they've done for the Zelda franchise, you know, getting so many more fans, you know, the open worlds that they have crafted and allowed players to roam are beautiful and just completely just these are just masterpieces of games right here. And I'm sure once I actually beat them, I will finally realize that on a more personal level. But I would be remiss not to appreciate the box art, the inner box art for Breath of the Wild here. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. You know, we got Link depicted here climbing this little mountainside. A neat thing that I kind of noticed that, I don't know if this was intentional with these box art designs, but you know, obviously with the front cover of Breath of the Wild, we have Link, you know, standing on the top of this mountain, you know, kind of looking down at the world in front of him. And on the inside art, we have him climbing up somewhere, which is cool. And then for Tears of the Kingdom, well, goddamn, he made it up. Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily like what they were going for with that, but like, you know, it's just kind of a weird like little theming that I noticed. Oddly enough, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really that dazzled by Tears of the Kingdom's inner box art. Like, it's just kind of there. I see what they were going for with this inner box art design, but like, I just don't think it's like that impressive in comparison to what we got for Breath of the Wild. But you know, what do I know? I haven't really played any of this game, so like, you know, does my opinion really matter? But yeah, hopefully from all of that, you can kind of see why I really appreciate these inner box art designs. And, you know, I hope Nintendo continues to, you know, follow this trend with their next console. Obviously, you know, Nintendo probably won't be doing manuals for the foreseeable future and with their next console and whatnot. But, you know, I think that this is, again, like a nice little, like, just bonus or just, like, kind of, like, supplement for that. Just, you know, being able to open up the game and see, like, this, you know, alternate art or just, like, you know, art from the game that, you know, kind of lets you appreciate just the game's world or the game's characters more. Like, I just think it's a really cool thing. And, you know, like, I hope I was kind of able to show that off with this video and talking about it. But wouldn't you know it, I saved the best for last. We got Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania here. Let's pop it open and see the amazing inner box art that it has in store for us. I did say I like minimalistic designs.